let me go to that real quick too, because I'm just going to throw a bunch of stuff out here so people can follow it. But it's called sacred tradition, and this is why when I talked about the in invitation letter that you sent out, I used the word tradition. By tradition.
Yes.
Tradition, most people don't know what it is. They think they do, but they don't. But so let me read. Sacred tradition or holy tradition is a theological term used in some Christian traditions, primarily in the Catholic, Anglican, Eastern Orthodox, and Oriental Orthodox traditions, to refer to the fundamental basis, here we go, of church authority. The word tradition is taken from Latin trado or tradiere, meaning to hand over, to deliver, or to bequeath. Now, to deliver. To deliver.
Yes.
You were given something at your birth. You were handed something. You were. It was a bequest. You were actually given something, a gift.
Yeah.
And again, it was a gift that keeps on giving, but it's ultimately it's something you do not know exists, and what it is it's a Catholic tradition. It was handed to you.
Yeah.
And you don't even. And again, it was what does he say in The Godfather?
An offer you can't refuse.
Because you don't know it exists.
Because you don't know you're getting it. You don't know what it is. Yeah.
And it moves from one to the next. Listen, to go on, it says the teachings of the Jesus and the apostles are preserved in writing in the Bible as well as word of mouth and are handed on. This perpetual handing on of the tradition is called a living tradition. It is the transmission of the teachings of the apostles from one generation to the next. The term deposit of faith refers to the entirety of Jesus Christ's revelation and is passed to successive generations in two different forms: one, sacred scripture, which is known as the Bible, and two, sacred tradition, which is known as apostolic succession. The deposit of faith is that property, it is that DNA, it is that thing that was deposited on your behalf for your salvation. That's the deposit of faith. That's the deposit in the United States Treasury. That's what created that trust account that they're defending for the Catholic Church. By the way, does anybody even understand that attorneys cannot ever work outside of the Catholic community? They can't work outside of D.C.
Right.
The only reason that you see them in a courtroom is because it's not a courtroom at all. It's a Catholic tribunal.
Yes.
For their Catholic characters. It's not U.S. citizenship that we're struggling with here. It's Roman Catholicism. And that's why it's so hard to see, because our premise is off. Our initial premise is off. So when the rest of this is kind of scary, because the idea of you being an apostle for Christ, there's something known as, let me see if I can find this, tradition and living magisterium. That's magisterium, living magisterium. The word tradition, in the ecclesiastical sense, which is the only one in which it is used here, refers sometimes to the thing that's doctrine, account, or custom, transmitted from one generation to another, sometimes to the organ or mode of the transmission. It's hard for me to get people to visualize this thing that's being passed from generation to generation. And what's really hard is for people to grasp the idea that the reason it's almost impossible to see it is because we don't know what it is that's going on. We don't know what's going on. We don't know why we end up in their courtroom. By the way, the statutes. The statutes don't apply to the living. They don't apply. They're corporate in nature. Yeah. And the statutes, look at the Catholic community. By the way, look at how often they use the word community.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
They use it everywhere. And it's but they don't use the one word that would actually make it a little more understandable, and that would be Catholic. The community is Catholic, and look at the people in Illinois are not the same people. They're not the same Catholic people in Illinois. Catholic people or Catholic persons, I got to be clear about this, Catholic persons, Catholic characters are subject to public law in the District of Columbia, even if they're on the soil of Illinois.
Right.
That's their community.
Mm-hmm.
That's their community. So when somebody says that they're out driving drunk, that's because the Catholic community in the all-cap state of Illinois, which is part of the District of Columbia, when they say blowing over a .08 because of alcohol, that's against community rules, not against law, not against the law of the land, not against Illinois law. It's against Catholic community law.
Right.
It's things like this that are so hard for people to see. Why is it? Why we need to start asking different questions. Why is it that diocese rules in every courtroom? Why is it that nobody understands the word county and parish are the same thing?
Yeah.
Why are some cases dismissed by a Catholic archbishop or bishop? What do they have to do with it? Everything. It's their property. It's their property.